We also know that we will have impact on people who are maybe living with uncles or living with friends that they would have to wait until maybe the uncle gets to the house before they can access the house, or they go through high level of inconvenience by living with someone just because they've just moved into the city. But knowing that we rent small, they won't have to look for that upfront payment or save up for a year rent before they can access a house. Those are the kind of impacts we are having.
Hi, my name is Tunde Balogun. I'm the CEO and founder of Rent Small.
The real estate industry is the 5th largest contributor to Nigeria's GDP. That's according to the National Bureau of Statistics. This seemingly giant figure becomes minute when juxtaposed with Nigeria's rising population figure of 198 million people and a housing deficit of 17 million. As is the case when demand outweighs supply, the cost of owning or renting apartments in Nigeria is inflated, as about 60% of the generated income of the average Nigerian goes to paying rent. This skyrocketing demand for affordable housing, however, presents not just a challenge, but also an opportunity for real estate businesses with a desire to look beyond profit to solving one of Nigeria's biggest socio-economic problems. One of such businesses is 2-month-old real estate startup Rent Small.
So what is Rent Small? It's an interesting name, and how does it work?
Rent Small, as the name implies, allows Nigeria to be able to access affordable housing. Affordable, as we all know, is relative, but what we really sell with Rent Small is convenience. So with Rent Small, you don't really have to, you don't pay upfront. You pay either monthly, quarterly, biannually, based on what is convenient for you.
Tunde Balogun is a graduate of International Business Management from Stanford International University in Bangkok, Thailand. He has lived in 3 foreign countries and visited 18 more, so this Herculean process of securing an apartment in Nigeria was a rude shock to him.
So you've lived in London, Taiwan and Thailand. How would you compare the process of getting an apartment in those countries and getting an apartment in Nigeria?
The process of getting an apartment in Nigeria compared to the countries that I've lived in, it's quite different. It's a shocker, I must say, because when, for example, Thailand, where I lived for 5 years plus, almost 6 years, it's very convenient. The rental process is very convenient, one, and what you are getting, you get value for money also, in terms of the kind of properties that you find in the market. Unlike Nigeria, where again, let me use Thailand for example. When you are renting a property in Thailand, it's not luxury anymore to find pool, swimming pool, and a gym in a property. Almost every property in Thailand, and let's not forget, Thailand is a developing country. It's not a developed country, So those things are not luxury anymore. Almost every major development has that, But in Nigeria, you find out that swimming pool, gym, they're still luxury things here. You don't find them in every property, and yet you're still being asked to bring your head, bring your hand and all that. So I find it very ridiculous when I moved back and was looking for a property to rent, and I have to pay upfront, pay agency, pay legal, and then I realized that the property I was even trying to get is not, the value is not even compared to where I'm coming from.
So you had an idea to challenge the status quo in Nigeria's real estate industry. What did you do next?
We bootstrapped initially, and as you know, bootstrapping can be very capital intense because everything had to come from your pocket. We did that for a long period of time when we are building the technology part of the website of the business, and then setting up the office and all of that. But at some point, we got an angel investor who invested in. That was recent actually, so it has allowed us to put some things in place.
Tell me about the very first landlord that signed up to Rent Small. How did he react, saying that he won't be collecting the year's rent upfront, but he was going to be receiving that in chunks?
The first landlord that I ever bought into Rent Small is actually a developer who develops and sells, but he has some properties that that's more like a private investment for him that he rents out. And then someone who is like a mentor to me had referred, who knew about the whole project, had referred us to him, because he had a property here in Lekki Phase 1, 12 units that he had been trying to rent out. He had rented out about 6 units out of the 12, or 12 of the 6 of the 12 were still vacant. So when we met him, he was like, oh, this is a major cost for development for him. He wants all his money at once, but he believed that this is the future of rental in Nigeria. He has always questioned it himself, but he just doesn't know that a platform like this will come up. So but after we sold the idea to him and how even what he's going to get, we shared about the default rate in Nigeria, why people are defaulting. A lot of people don't think about their next rent until when it's a deal, So he saw all of this data and all of this research that we've done and said, okay, I think I benefit more going with rent small than even collecting my rent upfront, because that upfront, the only advantage is that I collect the rent upfront, but there are other factors that play out that I'm not looking at, and I believe that a lot of landlords are not even looking at, and that will put them in problem at the end of the day. So he said he was ready to go, and guess what? We filled up the entire 6 vacant units, and even the tenants that moved out from the other 6 units that were rented, they went through Rent Small.
In addition to charging rent monthly rather than annually, Rent Small ensures every apartment is a faster alternative to renting a house and eliminates payment of agency and legal fees. With all the perks of using RSS and its flexible payment method, could it possibly be cheaper than the convention, or is it more expensive?
If you break down the numbers, or you compare the numbers, the ones that you've seen online, to what the upfront payment is, you realize that it's actually cheaper. That is one. Secondly, like I said, we're still very new, so we've done just as much as we have properties for 250, 300, 400 on the platform. We've done properties for 50, for 80. So with time, we're going to grow downward in terms of, when I say grow down, in terms of the rental price. We have this in our plans, our strategic plan already, in the long-term plan. So within a year, we want to have properties going for 20,000 a month, 15,000 a month. We've even done property of 27,000 a month, on our platform. So the vision is that, the plan is that we want to, as much as the high class, the middle class, we also want to reach out to the low-income people, to be able to get them to use Rent Small and be able to pay flexibly.
Rent Small currently has over 100 landlords on board. They are fully operational on Lagos Island, and they have plans to expand into the mainland and other states in Nigeria soon. To ensure that tenants are getting value for their money, the company carries out thorough checks on any landlord interested in partnering with them.
We were referred to a landlord, and then we inspected the property and all of that, and we asked the landlord to, we asked questions we asked a few of the tenants that were in the property, and one of them was a bit like, wasn't quite, just gave us a story around the experience he had had in the property. So because of that, we went online and checked the landlord out, and we realized that there has been several cases, lawsuits against this landlord, and there's track record of his dealings basically online. And because of where we just sent an email to him that so we won't be able to, because we found this and that. So.
The same goes for prospective tenants. Rent Small goes the extra mile to verify them against their income and relationship at their previous apartments.
A lot of people rent properties that they can't afford, even with the fact that it's costly with the yearly plan. So, but with Rent Small, one of the things we look out for is your income to rent ratio. We want to know if you're earning 200,000 per month, you shouldn't be renting a property of on 180,000, 150,000 per month, it's not sustainable. So we want to see that you can actually afford that. And so we check that through your bank statement, and we look at for what your salary is. Guarantor is another thing that we make sure that your guarantor can stand for you. And then the last thing I think is also your previous tenancy record. So where were you staying before? Were you keeping up to your rent and didn't default? So those are basic things that we just check.
So is there a money back guarantee on your platform? If something happens and let's say a tenant is no longer satisfied with the house, can he or she get back their money?
There's a contract, tenancy agreement, right? And everything is stated in tenancy agreement. So in a case whereby you move into the house and things that were highlighted have been stated, you're not getting it. Let's say for power, it has been stated that the power will be 12 hours, gen, and it wasn't. You are not getting 12 hours. You are getting 6 hours, and as a result of that, you want to terminate. You terminate. Yes, we will make sure that the contract is terminated and you get your refund. But we'll go beyond that. We'll help you to find, because we'll help you to find a new property. But I want to take it back again to the case where what could make that happen, that scenario where 12 hours power was guaranteed. And so we don't have any cases like that, I must say, but we've created plans for it already. So in a case where a landlord had already signed an agreement with us beyond the tenancy agreement, and the landlord is not living to their obligation, then from our side we can sue the landlord because the tenant is not getting what they're supposed to get, and the landlord has been paid on the property. So to avoid all of this situation happening, what we do is also to do due diligence on the landlords. You know, we make sure that we put our eyes into everything. We inspect the property, we ask the existing tenants in the property questions that help us to validate that, okay, this is a good landlord to work with. And I must tell you that we've turned out landlords just because we did our due diligence in researching the landlords.
Rent Small is all about convenience. They also rent furniture and appliances so tenants can pay for them on a monthly basis.
The vision really is to make property rental convenient for Nigerians. That is really to improve quality of life by making property affordable and accessible, and also reducing vacancy rates. Because you realize that because especially in the CBD areas, there's huge vacancy just because the prices are high and all of that. So with our model, which is flexible, those properties that are high, they can break the price down, and people that, let's say, can't rent them up front can now rent them flexibly. So that's really the vision of convenience on budget property for Nigerians, so that we can improve quality of life and productivity.
So in other parts of the world, there are housing programs in place for citizens. There's the low-cost housing program, and then of course there are mortgage plans. But why do you think Nigeria is so far behind in this regard?
Nigerians that have access to mortgage, they're less than 1%. That's the penetration right now, compared to like South Africa that has, I think, about 45% mortgage penetration. Some countries even have up to like 70-something mortgage. Netherlands, for example, or Singapore, Hong Kong. You know, these are countries I've been. So when it comes to mortgage, the government has a huge role to play in that, because they need to. It comes down to policy again. When it comes to, I believe we don't have policy in place that allow a lot of mortgage financier to come into the market and be able to create a good mortgage system that reduces the interest that people pay. When you think of mortgage in Nigeria, it's double digit. You know, and in most countries where mortgage is well practiced, it's usually single digit. I think, okay, for example, mortgage in Nigeria, for the mortgage companies of mortgage houses right now that are offering mortgages, you pay up to 25% to get a mortgage. And even what you'll be asked to bring as upfront it's not something that any middle class, good earning middle class person can easily put on the table. You know, unlike in developed countries or even developing countries, the bank can even finance the upfront that you're supposed to, as long as they can verify and can establish that you are earning this and you are with this company. They are willing to do that. But in Nigeria right now, our credit system is still in shambles. You can't really verify what people are earning. I mean, to some extent you can, but when it comes to this, within the mortgage system, the credit system that will enhance that and that will further that is not in place.
Nigerians have a need for shelter than ever before, and Rent Small Small couldn't have come at a better time. Tunay projects that his company would shelter 4,500 Nigerians in their first year of operation and would have up to 6,000 properties on their platform in the next 5 years. A project of this magnitude would require government support to prepare accommodation for our 263 million strong population come 2030.